Lads, welcome to a Sheffield United preview, the first one in such a long time. Can you believe it? We are legitimately 24 hours away from Aston Villa versus Sheffield United, the first Premier League game since the restart. And I know I'm not just speaking for Aston Villa fans and Sheffield United fans, I'm speaking for every single football fan in this country. We are so excited. So we're kicking off the season and it's promised to be one of the highest viewed football matches for a very, very long time. And Den Blades are featured. What a weird world we're living in right now.
If you don't have a song, you may as well not go to the pub at all.
Lads.
Watch this.
But before we crack on, please make sure you subscribe to this channel right now, because I'm about 350 subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers. So my original dream was 100 subscribers. Then we got to 1,000 subscribers and I thought, it seems so far away to 10,000 subscribers, and we're nearly there right now. So you know what to do. Down there, click the subscribe button, click the bell notification so you know when I'm uploading any videos. And let's crack on with the video. So first of all, let's talk about the break. So it's been a long time since the Premier League hit pause on this season. And when it was paused, Sheffield United and Aston Villa were in two very different places. Aston Villa were second bottom and we were seventh, and obviously we still are now. We'd won 3 and lost 1 of our last 4 games, and Aston Villa had lost all 4. And I'll tell you one thing, if we'd have played this game when we were supposed to, we'd have been so confident going into this game. Now, don't get me wrong, we are still confident, but nowhere near as confident as we would have been. But right now, it's a completely different situation. So many things in the world have happened since. We just don't know who's going to hit the ground running. And if we lose this game and Villa win, that could send the teams in a totally different direction. Like I said, right at the start of the season, we needed to get off to a really good start, and we did. We got a draw away against Bournemouth, and then we beat Palace at home. Very, very good start. We need to do something similar right now. So I'm not going to bang on too much about the break, because I did a video a couple of weeks ago when we found out that Premier League football was coming back. So if you want to hear me talk more about the break, go and watch that right now. It's on screen. So the last time we played Villa, it was at Bramall Lane, and I think you can safely say we were hands down the better team. We came away with a 2-0 win. John Fleck scored both goals, and Jack Grealish actually missed a penalty.
Come on, Jack.
And if my memory serves me right, I don't remember us being under too much pressure.
5 minutes to go. Shock, we're still crap.
And looking at the stats, they did not have 1 shot on target. We controlled the game and took our chances when they came along. There were flashes of brilliance from Jack Grealish, don't get me wrong. But he played more on the left-hand side, and in my opinion, I think Jack Grealish is best when he's playing straight through the middle, where he can kind of create more for other players. But in that game, I do think that George Baldock probably got the better of Jack Grealish throughout the game. And there was only one Scottish midfielder that stole the show in that game, and his name was John Fleck. He scored 2 very, very well-worked goals, and obviously took the Man of the Match trophy as well. Now, before I start talking about Villa's attack, because we know that Villa's attack is way better than the defence, let's talk about the myth that is Tyrone Mings. He's apparently being tipped to start for England in next year's Euros. Not just be in the squad, start. And Aston Villa have conceded the most goals in the Premier League this season. That includes Norwich City. Plus, they've got a decent goalkeeper between the sticks as well. So yeah, that is the big problem that Aston Villa have. Conceding goals. Leaking goals, you might say. And that's definitely something that we need to exploit in this game. Especially that we scored 7 goals in 2 games against them last season. But anyway, this is players to watch, not players to watch from behind the sofa. So Jack Grealish is undoubtedly a very, very talented footballer. But he definitely won't be playing football at Villa Park next season. That's a definite. He's given him many, many, many years when he probably should have left a few years back. But he's grown up as a footballer, and he's trying his best to pick Aston Villa up and drag him through these games. Because let's be fair, he's by far the best player. John McGinn just slightly behind him, and everybody else is way behind him. So yeah, those 2 players are definitely going to cause us problems. John McGinn's been spectacular in parts this season, but he has suffered with injuries too. So I'm sure someone like John McGinn will be absolutely raring to go, just as Jack Grealish will. So when it comes to players to watch, those 2 are the only real players that come to mind. But at the end of the day, this is the Premier League, And all these players are good enough to be playing Premier League football. That's why they're here. So anything can happen, really. Even Matty Fatty Target might notch. So next up, I'm going to try and predict Chris Wilder's 11. And this is difficult because Chris Wilder is just Chris Wilder. Like, you think he's going to play someone and then he'll go completely left field and put someone random in, and it's like, all right. Except for, obviously, the defence and the goalkeeper, they never change. So first up, obviously, Dean Henderson will be in the goal. At right wing back, it's got to be George Baldock. At left wing back, it's got to be Enda Stevens. I know he had a bit of an injury before the pausing of the season, but it will be back. Then we've got John Egan, Jack O'Connell and Chris Basham will all be at centre-back. No doubt about it whatsoever, unless there's been an injury and Chris Wilder's decided not to tell anyone which. If there was an injury, why would you tell the opposition? Next up, obviously, there's going to be Ollie Norwood at defensive midfield. Then there's going to be John Fleck on the left. And I think it's going to be Sander Berger on the right. And that is only because of what's been going on with Lundstram and his contract. Who knows what's going on? Lundstram might be stamping his feet and saying, I don't want to play unless you give me a load of money, or even like, say I don't want to play because I want to go elsewhere. But I don't know. I'm not in training with him. I'm not speaking to him. Chris Wilder obviously knows. So he'll play whoever he thinks is perfect for that role for that game. And then finally up front, there's 4 strikers that I think Chris Wilder's going to pick from. Obviously, Zivkovic, he's not played any Premier League football whatsoever. So there's obviously McBurney, Mousse, Billy Sharp and McGoldrick. And if I'm honest, I think Chris Wilder will go for the last 2 strikers that started up front against Norwich, and that's Billy Sharp and Ollie McBurney. But the thing is with Billy Sharp, he loves scoring goals against Aston Villa. He also loves scoring goals at Villa Park. So that might have a little bit of a say in what Wilder's thinking. And obviously McBurney's the big target man, tries to hold it up, bring Billy Sharp into it. So I think that's what he's going to go for. However, that's not the team that I would play. But again, Chris Wilder sees him in training every day, so he'll know what side to pick. The team I would go for is the exact same team. Lundstram in midfield, definitely, because he is so fit. He gets up, he gets back, he scores goals. He needs to be in that spot. Sander Berger is one for the future. Lundstram is one for the now. If we want to get into Europe, I think Lundstram has to play for the rest of the season. And up front, I've said in tweets recently that I think that our best 2 strikers are McGoldrick and Mousse. When they're on form, them 2 are excellent. Mousse, lethal, rapid. McGoldrick just oozes class, picks the ball up, kind of gets into these little pockets where he can create stuff left and right. Playing Mousse through, he is unbelievable. There's no one at this club that can do what he does. So for me, McGoldrick's got to be in there. And I know the only reason why he came out of the team was because he got injured, but he's back now. And for me, McGoldrick needs to be in there with Mousse, and I hope that he starts McGoldrick. I really, really do. So next up, connections. And this is where I look at players that have played for both Sheffield United and Aston Villa. Obviously, if I've missed any out, put them in the comments right now. Let me know who I've missed, because literally these have just come out of my brain. I've not even done any Googling. It's the first players that came out of my mind that I remembered wearing a Sheffield United shirt and an Aston Villa shirt. So first we've got to start with the players that are in the current squad. So we've got Enda Stevens, played 7 games for Aston Villa in like 3 years. Obviously Aston Villa didn't think he was going to be good enough. He's a bit of a late bloomer, so they let him go. He's worked his way back up the leagues, and he's now a Premier League footballer. And I think Aston Villa probably would love to have him back right now. Like I've said in other videos, one of the best left backs in the Premier League. And obviously he'll want to prove that he's good enough when he goes to Villa Park again. Next up, we've got Callum Robinson. Even though he's on loan at West Brom, still a Sheffield United player. Very, very similar to Enda Stevens. Couldn't make it at Aston Villa. Went on loan a few times. Eventually ended up at Preston, and we've signed him from Preston. So, yeah, he's not going to be playing in this game, but he's another one. Then you've got Kyle Walker, who obviously came through the ranks at Sheffield United. We sold him to Spurs. He went back on loan to us. Then he went back because obviously too good for the Championship. And then he went on loan to Aston Villa in the Premier League. And the rest is history with Kyle Walker. There's also Matty Lowton that played 72 times for Villa. Came through the ranks at Sheffield United too. And then the rest, we've got Lee Hendry, who obviously had a big career at Aston Villa. Came through the ranks at Villa. Played for us a little bit, but wasn't quite good enough for the standard at that point in the Championship. Scotty Hogan didn't really do it at Villa, but yeah, scored a very, very important goal for us against Ipswich to kind of get us going in that game, to win the game and ultimately get promoted to the Premier League. Then we've got goalkeeper Mark Bunn, had a few seasons at Villa, not playing too many games, came on loan to us too. We've got Samir Carruthers that played for Aston Villa, believe it or not, and obviously played for us in League One too. And finally, there's Kevin Gage as well, right back, played for Sheffield United and Aston Villa. So again, they're the only ones that have come out of my brain, so I bet there's loads and loads that I've missed. Paul McGrath. I've just remembered Paul McGrath. So yeah, you can still put that in the comments, but Paul McGrath, I just remembered him just then. So yeah, put him in the comments. If I've missed any out, put him down there right now. So most memorable match. There was two last season actually. If it wasn't for the Villa game, I would have definitely said the 4-1 victory at Bramall Lane. But last season, we went 3-0 up at Aston Villa, absolutely ran the show. Billy Sharp scored a hat-trick. One was a bit like, meh, he might have kicked it out of the goalkeeper's hand, but we were 2-0, 3-0 up. And then with 8 minutes to go, we decided to just throw it away. 82 minutes on the clock, conceded, then conceded again, then conceded in the 90 plus 4th minute. So we went from 3-0 down at half-time, well, 3-0 down with 8 minutes to go, to 3-3 by the end of the game. And Billy Sharp's face was a picture after the game because he got brought off thinking, oh, my job here is done. And then after the game, I think he got given the Man of the Match award. And it was just face like thunder. And do you know what? I do not blame him one little bit. Because we absolutely threw that game away with some diabolical defending. So many bad errors in that game from Dean Henderson, Jack O'Connell, even Baldock at the back post getting himself underneath the ball. So yeah, really, really bad performance in that last 8 minutes. But it spurred both teams on to go and get Premier League football. So if that game didn't exist, Aston Villa may not have gone and gone up through the playoffs because they were doing pretty poorly early on. And it may not have spurred us on to go and take second spot off Leeds. So finally, on to my prediction. Now, I know this is going to be a very, very difficult game because both teams have got a lot to play for. Obviously, Aston Villa are second bottom, but if they beat us, they jump out of the bottom three. And the same for us. If we win our game in hand, this one against Aston Villa, we go 5th in the league, above Man United. And right now, we think that is going to be Champions League football. So a hell of a lot to play for in this first game back. And like I say, it's going to be a very, very difficult game. Both teams are going to be not wanting to give away anything early on. But the thing is, I think that we'll go all guns blazing in the first 10, 15, 20 minutes because that's what we do. We like to close teams down. We like to try and score an early goal. And I think it could happen. So I'm going to say we're going to score 2 early goals. 2 goals in the first half an hour. Then Aston Villa's going to get one back. And then we're going to finish the game off towards the end. So adding those goals up, I think we're going to win 3-1. I think McBurney's going to get one. I think Sharp's going to get one. And I think Lundstrom's going to get one. I'm not sure what order, but I'm going to go for those 3. But let's be honest, anything could happen. There's now 5 subs allowed in every game. So we could see Zivkovic get on the pitch and score a goal. Who knows? I'm excited. I am really excited. So there you go, 3-1 it will be to Sheffield United. First game back. Come on, you red and white wizards.